Hi. In this screencast we'll take a look at the mouse pick action and how we can use it to place objects in the world. First thing we'll do is add an input manager to the scene. We'll just take an empty game object and call it input manager and add a state machine to it. Now most of the time the input manager is going to be waiting for input. So we'll make a start state called wait for input. And we want it to do something when the user hits the left mouse button. So we'll use get mouse button down and use the left mouse button. We want it to send an event. Let's make a custom event called left click. And on left click we'll go to a new state called left clicked, where we can decide what to do. So in left click we can use the mouse pick action to cast our ray into the world and see what the player has clicked on. Here you can see the things we can store. First of all, we can determine the ray distance, how far you will pick into the world. This will store whether you picked an object, the game object you picked, the point in the world that you picked, the normal at that point, and the distance into the world. You can also specify a layer mask to pick against different layers. So let's create a couple of variables. We'll create did pick object and hit point, which is a vector 3 point in the world. So we'll store whether you picked an object, and we'll store the point in the world that you clicked. Now, based on did pick object, we want to send some other events. So we can use a bool test test did pick object. If it's true, we can send one event. If it's false, we can send another. So let's make a couple of events. Let's say picked object or cancel. We can add these events. If it's cancel, we can go back to wait for input. If it's picked object, we go to new state, call set target. Now in set target, we want to position this object here at the position we clicked. So we can just use set position, specify the target object, and use the hit point to set the position. And once we're done, we want to go back to wait for input. So let's check that we hooked up the events. Here on left click, we need to send left click. If we picked an object, we'll send picked object. If we didn't, let's send cancel. Okay, it's looking good. Let's test it. So it's in this state, wait for input. You can see the other two states activated as I click the world. Now let's have some fun with this. Let's move an object towards the target as we click in the world. We'll add a cube. We'll give it a state machine, an idle state, and a move to target state. We'll add an event, target set, When it gets the target set event, we'll move to target. When it's finished moving to the target, we'll go back to idle. And move to target, we'll use move towards. We'll set the target. Decrease the finish distance a little bit. Send finished when we're done. In the input manager, and set target, we'll add broadcast event. Let's say target set. Let's try that out. Okay, so there's a couple of problems here. The cube sinks into the ground as it moves towards the target, and it doesn't face the target. So let's fix that. Cube, move to target. We'll ignore the vertical height of the target, so he maintains his Y height. And we'll add look at and set the target. Let's try that. That's pretty cool. So that wraps up this screencast. We made an input manager that responds to mouse clicks, sets a target position, and dispatches events to other game objects, so they can do things like move towards the target. Thanks.